This E3 coverage is brought to you by Ting, mobile that makes sense.
So it was our first day on the show floor today.
Yes.
What did you think as a newbie?
There were certainly a whole lot of video games there, yeah.
You checked out a lot of Nintendo stuff.
I did, yeah. I kind of made a beeline for Nintendo.
Yeah. How was Super Smash Brothers?
Do you like Super Smash Brothers?
Do you know me?
Do you like Super Smash Brothers?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Great news.
Uh-huh.
It's like the best Super Smash Brothers game, probably.
No shit, really?
I mean, I'm not like one of the...
Wow.
There are a lot of people out there...
Wait, so
Purists.
let's rewind
Yeah.
and go back to... There's a huge split within the Super Smash community.
Right.
And will this unite all of them?
I think it's too early to say. I think it's definitely trying to. It's a much faster game than Brawl was. Feels closer to Melee in terms of speed.
No
They
tripping.
took out tripping, yeah. They sort of just, in general, seem to have taken competitive Smash players seriously,
Yeah.
which is something it took me a long time to do, so I'm impressed that a multinational corporation has managed to do it. But it's cool. It seems like a Smash Brothers game that is going to make those people happy, and people like me who play with items on medium or very high
Yeah. You know,
happy.
so the thing that I'm kind of like, I find most interesting about how Nintendo has been like marketing a Smash at this E3 is like they're having a competitive tournament, and it kind of like, I'm kind of excited. Like, are they considering dipping their toe into like esports in a more significant way?
Dude, people were lining up for that event like 10 hours
Yeah,
before
around the
it
stadium.
started.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's
around
like an Apple launch or something. People are super into it.
At the end of it, Reggie teased that they might potentially do this again in the future, maybe bring it on the road as like a sort of globe-trotting
That
tour
could
to
be cool.
like
That'd be
generate
awesome.
hype for Smash
Yeah.
4. So that's a neat idea.
It's such a good game. It's such a good game to watch too.
I know. I don't watch competitive Smash, but me and our editor Jeremiah were watching the final match of that Smash Brothers tournament, which was a Kirby versus Zero Suit Samus match that was just so intense and so close. It was the last match of the round, and then Reggie came out at the end as a surprise. It was just phenomenal. Anyone can watch Smash and enjoy it. But I feel bad talking about Smash since you don't care about Smash. What was the most exciting thing for you on day one?
Well, actually, a lot happened to me today. I spent half the day at the Ubisoft booth because of reasons that were beyond my control. Far Cry 4, I was playing Far Cry 4 co-op. I looked up and Aisha Tyler is standing right next to me playing. I had no idea, and I was like, "Fuck, this is awesome." But she was playing, so I couldn't like talk to her or anything, or ask her to marry me.
Did I tell you, just while we're talking about celebrities, that while I was playing Rainbow Six the other night, like before the embargo, we were like in a room playing Rainbow Six, and LeVar Burton walked into the room.
Dude, what the hell? Why is E3 like full of celebrities now?
I don't know.
I bumped into Vern Troyer mini-meet twice today on the show floor. Matt and I walked by Rampage Jackson, the like crazy UFC champion.
Yeah, right.
Who,
Wow.
honestly, I didn't know until he told me. But apparently he's a big deal.
See, as me and LeVar and the rest of our group were walking out of the Rainbow Six demo, we walked past comedian Paul Scheer as well. And then I've seen like just a group of people, and they're always people who you either know right away and you're like, oh man, or oh, I know that person's face is a face I've seen.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. But yeah, Far Cry 4 was amazing. I shot down a helicopter from atop an elephant.
Yeah,
So
a full helicopter or a two-seater pedal helicopter?
full helicopter, yeah.
It's good stuff.
It was pretty amazing. I also saw The Division, which is really good. I'm pretty sure it was the same demo as what they showed, but it's always nice to have somebody actually playing it live for you and walking you through it. They have some really cool weapons in that game, and you can modify each weapon with like 5 or 10 different weapon modifications. So it gets like pretty balls out insane.
I kind of remember from like the first like gameplay trailer they showed off at the last E3. They had someone finding like opening like basically a chest, and it was like the loot.
Right.
You know, of like the mission. And he was like, oh wow, that's a really good one. You know,
Like
you gotta
so
keep
that's
it.
what the side quests are. Like all the side quests you
So
do
is it
basically
Far Cry then?
get you.
Like, sorry, I mean not Far. I mean I meant to say Borderlandsy. Is it Borderlandsy then? Like with
no,
like collectible.
I wouldn't say it's like excessive loot. It's like everything that you get, you should be able to use. You know,
Okay.
like you don't really throw anything away.
I gotta admit, I was a little, since this was my first day of E3, when we went to go see these like behind closed doors events, I was a little let down by how many of them were exactly what we saw on the presentation. It is helpful to have a narrator explain, like, hey, here are the new mechanics in Assassin's Creed. But one thing I really liked was when I went to my Witcher 3 demo, they picked up from where the press conference ended.
Oh, and
They picked up from where the press conference ended. So, you remember how during Microsoft's press conference, the Witcher thing was him hunting a griffin and ripping off its head and riding away? They were like, so you've hunted the griffin, now you're going to return that griffin head. So they picked up from, they knew that everyone in the room had seen this stuff already. They're like,
that's cool, but know that that's unusual for E3.
Okay.
Like most demos just go over what was revealed. If they had a gameplay demo in a press conference, they'll do that and talk about it. Because like the Assassin's Creed behind closed doors presentation that we saw was the same thing, but I felt like they elucidated a lot better on the things in the game that are new. They talked about all of the overhauls to the gameplay mechanics, which they didn't really discuss in the press conference. So it was still enlightening, and it's also, I feel, just better to watch things on an actual TV on a system than live streamed over the internet. Well, what about you though? You were on the show floor all day long.
So I actually got a chance to check out the Splatoon and
the new Nintendo IP, right?
Yeah. And I actually was like so surprisingly really excited to play that game.
How is it?
Something about the movement was really interesting. And then also being a
it seems very fast paced.
Yeah, how did it feel?
It can be. So this is the problem. It's you have to use the gamepad and you have to use the accelerometer as like part of your targeting.
camera?
For targeting and shooting. You can actually control the camera with the thumbstick. So basically what I ended up doing once I kind of figured out the controls is I would look side to side and aim with the right thumbstick, but then I would have to tilt up and down with the actual physical.
So it's a mandatory gyroscope?
Correct. The right stick would not do that.
Why?
Or it wouldn't do it. It would move the camera, but it wouldn't move my aimer, right? It wouldn't move where my
your reticle
paint or ink was going.
That should be reversed.
I know, completely. And so I think if playing the game without the gamepad, and if you can play it with just the like the Pro controller or even nunchucks would be a huge improvement. Because if you could play with normal first-person controls, I think it'd be really awesome.
That's the thing, is that I don't necessarily hate the idea of using the gyroscope if it's an auxiliary thing. So if I could walk around with the left stick, move my reticle with the right stick, and then look around occasionally without moving my reticle using the gyroscope, that's cool. That's a third optional axis that doesn't screw me up. But like, yo, Nintendo,
requiring it.
We figured out third-person shooter controls like a mad long time ago. You don't really need to mix that up.
I know, and so few games that like have mandatory gyroscopes that are actually good without you having to like contort your body in all these weird positions.
I'm trying to think of an example.
And it's so obvious, like it's like, oh, it's a new IP, it's cool, and they probably knew it was going to be really exciting for people to see. And I know they want people to use the gamepad and feel like it's like a worthwhile addition to like the console. But it's like, it's not worth it. And actually, I would actually be sad to lose the gamepad if I had a Pro controller, because there's a map that's always present on the gamepad, and you can tap it and you can like launch yourself to a teammate or whatever. And you can like, it's almost like teleporting further up onto the map.
That does,
which is actually cool.
The fact that the gamepad is so essential, or at least the touchscreen thing for jumping to like where you respawn, that bums me out a little bit, because it means that game won't have local multiplayer necessarily, or at least it won't have symmetrical local multiplayer, and that's a bummer. I'm also bummed that like, if they really are shoehorning in gyroscope as much as it sounds like, or the touchscreen even, like that's almost antithetical to what Nintendo's done the past few months, because Mario Kart 8 doesn't use the screen for anything worthwhile, basically. Same with Smash. I played Smash all day today and like never once looked at or used the touchscreen. As a matter of fact, they handed us 4 GameCube controllers and hid the gamepad somewhere else. Like, I don't know.
But it makes sense that they would develop for it though, and almost make people use it until they realize like, okay, we should at least have an option to like change the controller layout.
I can't imagine that game will ship without normal ass third-person shooter controls.
I'm sure it will.
The concept is so promising. Like, it looks so neat. That aside, what did you think of the actual gameplay of it?
I thought it was really fun. I thought it's really you have to think about playing the game in a different way than just a normal first-person shooter. You know, you have to make sure you're spreading your ink all over the map, because that's how you win. It's not about like taking someone out, but then if you take someone out, you hit them and then they have to like force to respawn.
And they're not spreading their ink during that time.
Exactly. So you benefit from doing that, but almost benefit more from just like shooting the ink all over the place. It's interesting, and the
I
fact that you can
feel
move
like
and like
that game. The more and more I
fun.
think about it, the more it feels like a mode in a full game.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me
I
of
know
is
what you mean.
graffiti mode in Tony Hawk Pro Skater,
Yeah,
actually, where you're skating
it's-
on different parts of the level and gaining them. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would agree with you if it weren't for the interesting stuff about the movement. If it weren't for the fact that you're diving in and out of the ink. That
Because
to
I
me
feel-
seems
Yeah,
like the
for
hook.
sure.
I feel like because I feel like I could do some incredibly awesome badass moves if the controls were like something I was used to.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm like having to go like this and like think about
Yeah.
where I'm like moving my arms, whatever.
I mean,
Like I'm not like an old man who's like turns by
right.
Like I know how to use this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Same thing with like, the way I prefer it is in the Captain Toad game that they're putting out, which I played today. It works the same way it works as a mini game in Super Mario 3D World, in that you can tilt it using the gyroscope controls, but the right stick works at the exact same time the exact way you want it to, and you can use either one. You can use either one.
Too much whiskey? It's okay. Let it out.
Aww.
I know. Nintendo makes me emotional.
Drinking
too.
wrong whiskey is woo.
At any rate, not to wrong pipe.
Yeah,
You really
wrong
feel
pipe,
it, huh?
and
The
it
burn
feels real warm.
in your lungs, hot lungs. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rag completely on Nintendo,
I know you
because
don't.
I think some of my favorite things I've seen today have been theirs. Yoshi's Woolly World seems dope. That new Kirby Canvas Curse follow-up seems like an interesting way to re-steer that franchise out of just being Superstar over and
Captain
over.
Toad.
And that Captain Toad game is adorable as shit, and is actually a little bit more involved than the Captain Toad puzzles were in 3D World. Like they are still making some of the prettiest, most interesting, most colorful looking things
for
that I saw
sure.
today. And the games that I want to play most out of everything I've seen and played so far are those. I want to spend some time getting really deep into those and figuring out.
Yeah, the
mechanics
quality, like the texture, and the way that the Yoshi game, like the yarn, would, like bounce when you jumped on it.
Oh my god. How much do I
It's
want one of
incredible.
those Yoshi yarn dolls?
Dude,
Oh my god!
that
in
has
the-
to
in the
exist.
If they
Nintendo
sold
Direct
those,
video?
like real
my
ones,
God.
I would buy a shit ton of them. They'd be like the new Beanie Babies.
Dude, Nintendo needs to get into that aspect of merchandising. Like, this figure thing is obviously going to
Oh
do
my God,
gangbusters
yeah.
for them, but
like someone
No,
on
it's
Etsy is
way
gonna
better.
make a ton of money.
right.
I just want to cuddle with a yarn Yoshi.
How big?
That's
What
so much
size
to
would you
ask.
want?
I want to put it in my pocket.
I want the pocket. I want the size of the pocket. I want the size that the dude had in the video where it was
Like,
peering
tuck
out
it
of
in.
his blazer. I just want to walk around like that all the time. I want to pin it to my blazer
That's a
and
good
wear it
look.
as a brooch.
You just want to crucify a Yoshi on your shirt. Is
Yeah,
what you're telling
basically.
me.
Pretty
Good
much.
Not dark.
No,
at
not at
all.
all.
Nintendo.
Well, that's day one, I guess.
Yep. Time to drink. Hey, there is a ton of awesome video games coming out this year, and if you want the money to actually buy all of the games you want, then you should sign up for Ting.
Yeah, Ting is this alternative sort of version of a cell phone provider plan that doesn't require you to lock yourself into a painful 2-year contract and makes you only pay for what you use each month. So let's say 1 month you leave your phone at home and go on vacation, you won't pay any data fines and minutes.
Yeah, you only pay for what you use. There's no long-term plans. You don't have to pay any crazy hidden fees.
Yeah.
Like you always have to do with your cell phone provider. It puts the power back in your hands and it is completely transparent. They will show you everything that you have used and all of your charges. No hidden fees, no crazy stuff like that. And they have awesome customer service. If you call up Ting, you will actually speak to a real live human being,
Right
which
away.
is unheard of.
In this day and age?
No robots.
You kidding me?
Exactly.
I'm over robots.
So if you want to sign up for Ting, or if you want to check out their savings calculator, which can show you how much money you would save over 2 years if you switch to Ting, just hit up rev3games.ting.com. And if you sign up with that link, you will also get $25 off your first monthly bill. Again, that is rev3games.ting.com. And remember, every sign up helps support Rev3 Games.